Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Um, Alrighty. Alrighty, let me let people know that I am live. Okay. Got this going. We're gonna be doing the holiday playlist again, the Stream Beats holiday playlist, which reminds me. Um Let me see if the Stream Beats website is back up. Oh nope, the Senpai merch is still up. Alright, which with that odd two-headed dog picture. Alrighty. Okay. So I've got this situated. I told people I was live. It is going to be the last stream of the year. Hey, Nabiru. Let me... Alrighty. I let people know I was live. Let's move over to the just chatting screen that we're going to be spending a lot of space on tonight. Boopity boop. Okay. All right. Why is the notepad thing not on my... That's weird. I had notepad on my shortcut bar. Okay. Alright, so I got that. I'll work with that in a little bit. It's just the regular model tonight. Just the regular model tonight. No special fancy model like I had for Christmas. You sent me something? Was it the Fillion thing? Silva? Because I just saw that. The Fillion thing you sent me. Yeah, Silva sent something. Always terrifying words to hear, Nabiru. Always terrifying. You never know if Silva sent something you buy. The thing is, it's being run on January 1st. And like, depending on the time, that might butt into whenever I would normally be streaming. So my stream on Monday, if I get picked for the Fillion thing, might be delayed or canceled depending on how it goes with the Fillion thing. I don't know how long I'm gonna be on there if I get picked. Like, that's a big if. I don't even know what I would say. Probably just talk about my lore and my goals for so for those of you who don't know, Silva sent me a message about Fillion, who did the VTuber awards. Made a post saying that on January 1st, she's running a show where small VTubers come on and give a presentation on themselves, an IRL story. All right, Silva, take your phone call. It's okay. Their lore, whatever. It can be funny, entertaining, interesting, or cursed. If you want to participate, reply, and that she'll DM. I don't know how she's gonna throw that together over the course of a weekend. It should be interesting. Of course, once Silva tagged me and not tagged me, but like sent it to me, I responded to it. There's just a lot of really great small VTubers that I see have responded to it. Which is, like, it's cool that Fillion's doing more stuff for the community. Those of you who don't know, Fillion did the VTuber Awards recently. That's the first really big award show for VTubing. That was just a huge celebration of the VTubing community. And like Fillion is such, like, it's really funny because like in her streams, Fillion's like this like gremlin who's just a bundle of energy and chaos. But then to also see her doing these things to like invest into the community is really interesting, because it's not exactly what you'd expect from like your standard chaos gremlin, you know what I mean? And I don't know if that means we need to change what we expect from chaos gremlins or what, but it's definitely interesting. All right, so how is everybody's week coming up into the new year? We are like, Sunday is New Year's Eve, Monday is New Year's Day. Originally, so like, okay, it's funny. Originally, I had planned to do a regular stream tonight, just playing like some Zoid Saga DS. and then do a New Year's stream on Monday where I would be talking about the new year and maybe exploring some perfect draw stuff. But then, like, I was laying down and I was just thinking about it, and I was like, you know, I see all these people doing this stuff for the final stream of the year, and I kind of want my final stream of the year to be special. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do a free chat stream where I just chat about stuff. We'll talk about some perfect draw stuff. We'll talk about the year. We'll go over some of the stuff that's happened this past year. And just talk about stuff. Chat about stuff. Let the conversation go where it wants to, you know? Let me take a look here. So we'll get into this more. I pulled up some of my stuff. Oh my gosh, some of my stuff got big views. It's funny, like, a bunch of my stuff got lots of views, but like it didn't get, I'm looking at my analytics, but like not much of them had a lot of watch time. Why did that one random Armored Core 3 stream get so many views? That's funny. Armored Core stream, my Armored Core 3 streams gotta get some decent views. Oh gosh. My chat GPT stream before I knew all the stuff I know now about AI got a lot of views over the course of the last year. All right. I'll go over my analytics in a little bit whenever we get rolling. We'll go into excuse me. We'll go into all that stuff. So yeah, but my week has been interesting, right? So Monday was Christmas, right? Had all the stuff on Christmas, all that jazz. I talked about that. Big Christmas breakfast, all that. Then it's just been kind of like recuperation time since then. And just dealing with stuff here at the house. And like, I don't want to go into too many details, but like stuff's just gotten a little bit hectic and crazy. And I don't know, there's been some stuff that I just take for granted that I didn't realize I was taking for granted, that have been really brought to my attention as things that I should really appreciate. I was talking to someone today who was telling me that like she had I think she said she like lost a bottle of her like depression meds. Of like her her mental health meds, and she'd gone without them for like a week and stuff was getting really bad. And then like she said she started going through withdrawal and all this other stuff, and she ended up finding the bottle later. But then like my response, like if I ever miss a day of my medication or miss some time on my medication, I feel terrible. And like I'm like, okay, I need to just get back on my medication. That's just something I take for granted. It's like, okay, just gonna get back on my medication and work on getting better. And like this person was talking to me about how like she wasn't sure if she wanted to get back on her meds, and she's like, yeah, some people just aren't sure if they want to get back on their meds. And I'm like, what? Like, if you need your meds to function. And it's just a little things like that, right? Where like are just little things like my presumption is if my doctor gives me medication, I'm going to be taking it, right? And I know that sometimes when I talk to my doctor, they're like, are you taking your meds? And I'm like, of course I'm taking my meds. But then they don't take it for granted because they're like, you know, not everybody's going to do that. And it was my first time really being confronted with someone who like was one of those people that like the doctor has to remind you to take your meds. And that was interesting for me. Which that was cool. See, like, okay, another thing about tonight, right? I posted in my Discord that I'm going live. I made the going live post on like YouTube did its thing whenever I created the stream. Oh, you're back? What's up, Silva? I made a reply on the Phillian thing. I did reply on the Phillian thing. So. Oh, what's up with you? What's up with your week? What'd you get up to this week? I was just talking about my week, how like after Christmas stuff is just kind of in this holding pattern. And then like, it's been a thing where like my doctor, recommended that I get the COVID booster shot. But my doctor's office didn't receive any of the latest round of COVID booster shots. And they were like, if you want to get the COVID booster shot, you have to go to a CVS. And I'm like, like, if you want to get it and have your insurance pay for it, you have to go to a CVS. And I'm like, that seems super random, super bizarre that I'd have to go to a CVS in order to get my COVID booster. I couldn't just get it at my doctor's office. But apparently they're being really selective who they roll out the COVID booster shots to. Like, I was able to get my flu shot at my doctor's office, but I wasn't able to get my COVID booster. So like, that was weird. And then like, I had to figure out how to like get the thing at the doctor's office. I mean, at the CVS. And when I went into a CVS and asked, they're like, you have to go online and fill out an application. I'm like, I have to go online and schedule an appointment. So I went online and I scheduled an appointment at my local CVS. And like, my friend, who was like the one in the house with a car, told me when I first said I was going to do this, she said specifically, make your appointment on Thursday. That's going to be the best day for me to drive you. So I made my appointment on Thursday at my local CVS that we always go to, that we know exactly where it is, right? And then like I messaged her right after Christmas. I was like, because I know she was busy with her family on Christmas, so I didn't want to like bug her. So I messaged her right after Christmas and I was like, hey, I made the appointment. Here's the time. Here's the date. You know, just let me know when you're ready to leave. And like, you know, I messaged a few days beforehand. And then like the day before, it was like Tuesday or Wednesday. I think it was like Tuesday later on. I messaged her Tuesday in the morning, and then Tuesday afternoon or evening, when I talked to her, she was just like, oh, well, stuff's come up, situations changed, and I'm not going to be able to drive you on Thursday. And I'm like, okay, well, that sucks, because I specifically scheduled it for Thursday because she told me she'd be able to take me on Thursday. I could have got another ride, but I was like, you know what? We'll just figure it out. And she said, if I could do the schedule for Friday, it would be better. So I did. I found one on Friday. I said, is Friday at this time going to be okay? I specifically asked her as I was making the appointment. I'm like, what time should I make this appointment for? And she's like, do it around the time when you normally get up. So I'm like, okay. So I normally get up around 11:30. So I made the appointment at noon, so that way I could get up around 11:30, and then we'd leave and go handle our business, right? And then we go today, and then I get up today, and like she's running other errands and stuff before I get up, and like doing some kind of other like cleanup stuff. And there's some other stuff that's happening. And then she takes me to CVS, and we get there a little bit early because I'm like, I don't know if there's going to be insurance problems. I just want to make sure I'm there with time to spare in case anything goes wrong with the appointment, because I've worked in a pharmacy. I know that like things can get really wonky with paperwork, with needing prior authorization. Oh, you weren't watching me live? Where were you, Silva? Oh, did it do the thing where whenever, since you clicked off of the web page, where it stopped playing the stream since you clicked off the web page or whatever? My phone does that. I don't know if you're on the phone or on desktop, but like my phone does that sometimes, and it's really funny. When I was watching the Obake Pam big 150 plus VTuber concert, my phone did that, and I didn't even realize I was like 20 minutes behind where the actual stream was. But I didn't want to miss any of the concert, so I like was watching the concert at like 1.75 or 1.5 speed in order to like get all the songs and the stuff for the concert, but still catch up to where it was. And it was really funny because even though the video was lagging behind, right? I was behind on the video. The chat was still showing the current chat for where it was live. So I kept seeing people saying, oh, cool, it's this person, it's this person. I'm like, that's not who's on the screen. And then like the next song would be like, oh, that's the person they were talking about. How did they know? And then it's slowly like, oh, it didn't click until I tried to move from my phone to the computer. And I realized when I opened up the stream on the computer, it was like way ahead of where I was, and I was like, I don't want to miss this concert. I don't want to miss all these songs. But yeah, so like we went to the CVS early. It took us a little bit to find it, right? And like when we get there, my friend tells me that she had scheduled a telehealth appointment with her counselor at the exact same time as when I'm supposed to be having my vaccination, my COVID booster. And I'm like, okay, I scheduled it for this time because you told me to schedule it for this time. And I asked you and I told you when I made the schedule. But like, I was like, you know what? She's going to be doing her telehealth appointment in the car. I'll just like walk around or chill out. It was more funny than frustrating. And she told me she wasn't going to be long. So I was like, okay, you know, it's not that bad. And also at the same time, as much as it was kind of like, you know, inconvenienced, I also understand that like it's important whenever you're going through stuff to be able to talk to somebody. And she seemed like she really needed to talk to somebody. So it was one of those things where like I never want to be getting in the way or begrudging or like getting like making it hard for anyone to get the mental health help that they needed. You know what I mean? So I went in and I was there and there were people at the desk, so I had to wait for the people to go before I could check in. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to check in on my phone. So I tried to check in on my phone and it said that I was too early. I couldn't check in until 15 minutes before my appointment time. And I was like, oh, great. Well, I still went up when I was like 20 minutes. It was like 20 minutes ahead of my appointment time. And I finally got up to the front of the line. It wasn't like it was just, I finally got up to talk to them. And I was like, hey, I have an appointment. It says I can't check in on my phone. I don't know if I'm too early. I brought my insurance stuff so you can run my insurance stuff in case anything goes wrong. And then like, as the lady is running my insurance paperwork, right? She like something processes on her computer and she says, that'll be $17.99. And I was like, wait, what? And it took me a second to realize she was talking to the person who had been in line before me, who had like gotten out of line because she had to process something. So it's one of those things where someone had a question about a medication, and instead of like finishing that up, she had been working on that while I was handing her my paperwork, and she was telling the person who'd been in line before me that it was going to be $17.99 for whatever their stuff was, right? And I'm like, at least she didn't say the name of the medication, because that would have been a HIPAA violation. But for a second, I was like, I've got $4 in my bank account. But then she's like, no, you're fine. Your insurance covered everything, right? And she got me checked in. She told me to go wait in the vaccination area and that the pharmacist would be over with me shortly. Guy comes over. He's like, hey, you're doing great. You got here early. You're about to get your vaccine. You're about to get in and out the door before your appointment time. And I'm like, great. I'm still going to have to wait for my friend to get... I didn't tell him. Yeah, preparation H, exactly. And I took off my my jacket and I had my sleeve rolled up for the doctor to give me the injection of the booster shot, right? And like he does that thing that like a lot of like doctors or like nurses will do, where like they'll try to compliment you or something in order to like just have good bedside manner and to just like ease the tension and to like act as an icebreaker or whatever. And he was like, oh, you've got some big muscles. Do you lift weights? And I'm just like, the only weight I lift is the weight of my stress. And I just chuckling at him. I'm like, the only weight I lift is the weight of my stress. And he just bust out laughing. He's like, I've never heard that before. And I'm like, eh. So then I got my shot, and then like I went to talk to my friend, and it was like we had like 10 minutes till her appointment, and she could have taken me home. But she's like, I'm still waiting for my thing, and she was like still distraught, so I was like, okay, whatever. And she's like, it should only be like 20 minutes or whatever. And then it ended up being like 45 minutes. Not 45 minutes from then, but 45 minutes from when her call started. So it was like another hour after that point of when oh my gosh, I've seen some like phlebotomists and like nurses talk about like how good it looks to see someone with very visible veins that are very easy to hit and to give an IV to. And the like sharing pictures. I knew someone who like shared pictures about like really great looking really great looking veins that were just good for giving medication to. And like some people, some nurses and phlebotomists and stuff are like really into that. The one lady I knew who was like really into like sharing those pictures and taking pictures of really great veins called it like vein porn or something. It was one of the most bizarre things I think I've ever seen. And it was but so I was kind of just like wandering around for like an hour while my friend was on the phone with her counselor, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give her space, I'm gonna give her time. And then like it was a little bit chilly, but it wasn't that bad. I had my jacket and my sweats. And then like when we were on the way home, she was talking to me about some of the stuff that was going on in her life, some of the stuff she'd been talking to her counselor about. And I had to remind myself that like I go through intense stuff too. I'm not in a position to judge anyone, right? And just thinking about stuff that like you take for granted, you know? And then like also the whole thing with I started watching this streamer who's like, they're not a new streamer, they've been streaming for a while. I started watching the streamer this week. Umi Kyoku, Umi, who's like a whale shark VTuber. Like literally it was a thing where like all my stuff canceled that I was supposed to be doing, and I was just like really bored. And I was like milling around on YouTube, and I saw this stream that was like someone doing karaoke stream, was like sad girl karaoke or something. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I checked in for a little bit. It was okay. I was like, okay, that's cool. But then I got kind of bored, and I kind of just clicked off and like was moving on to other things because I was just like looking for stuff. I wasn't super invested, because like when you're watching a karaoke stream, if you're not like super invested in like the singer or whatever, like it's really, or if they're not singing like songs that are your favorites, it's really hard sometimes to get invested. And then like I was watching a bunch of other stuff kind of bouncing around, then I ended up coming back. And then like I came back during one of the talking parts between the songs, when like she was talking about herself and introducing herself, and like she was, and it was just like, I was so captivated. I was just so captivated by her personality and like her story and the stuff that she'd been through. Which was really cool. And then like I got really drawn into the rest of the stream, and I watched the rest of the stream from that point on, and she was doing some songs that I really enjoyed. What am I gonna binge at the start of the year, Nabiru? Well, tonight's stream is supposed to be talking about the past year, and I was gonna talk about New Year's on New Year's, but I don't know if the Fillion thing is gonna happen. So I don't know if I'm gonna have a Monday stream. New Year's anime that I might binge. It is after 9 o'clock, so let's start talking about the actual meat and potatoes of tonight's stuff. I don't know. Probably be something classic. Might be something like Escaflowne. We're watching through some Zoid stuff with Silva. Oh, speaking of which, Silva. I don't know. Are you still here? So, you'd asked me to put in the Zoids Discord asking about if there was production issues with Zoids New Century Zero. One of the like experts and like one of the like old heads on the Discord server ended up responding, and what they said was that the whole thing about there being some kind of production issues with Zoids New Century Zero is a very popular Western rumor. But we don't know that anything about whether or not they were suffering from any ratings issues. But what we do know is, according to Japanese websites, as of the airing of episode 9, it was publicly stated that the new Ultraman show was going to be taking its time slot after its 26th episode. So it was publicly announced that it was going to be 26 episodes. That it might have been done before that, but that was the oldest reference that person could find. So, and somebody else said that one of the artists had talked about possibly going back and doing an OVA, but then it just kind of like time. Yeah, darn you, Ultraman, exactly. But then it had just gotten away from them. Oh. Honore de Kedo. Exactly. Honore Decadedo. Yes, it's all Decade's fault. But so yeah, that was the thing I wanted to share with you, because I know you'd been asking about that. So like, I'm watching through that. I'm watching through Votoms with Okusen. And like, also I wanted to clarify one thing. When I talked about my friend who like was struggling with whether or not they wanted to go back on their medication, I wasn't trying to like talk down about them or like say any like derogatory thing about them. I was just saying I'd never met someone who struggled with that before. I think it's a very valid thing and a very real concern to not be sure, to be unsure of what medication you're supposed to be taking, especially if you're in the middle of experiencing withdrawal from like being out of medication for a while. I think that's very valid and real, and I don't want anyone to think that I was talking down about my friend, or making fun of them or anything, or trying to poke fun at them for content or anything like that. I was just sharing because it was just something that I experienced this week, meeting someone who struggled with that. Anyway, I always so part of my my social anxiety is I'm always worried that what I say is going to get taken out of context, or I'm going to be misunderstood, which is its own special kind of hell whenever you're a streamer. Like, because you never know, like, I mean, nobody really clips me. But like, you never know when something's going to get taken out of context, or someone's only going to watch a short little clip of something, and they're going to be like, and you're going to get canceled, and they're going to be like, you said this, 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 and this, and I'm like, oh my gosh. It's just, but like, one of the things about being a small streamer is that like, I don't have to deal with a lot of that stuff, but I don't know. But so I'm watching Armor Trooper Votoms with Okusen, watching Zoids and Macross with Silva. As for what anime I might watch Escaflowne. I never finished Escaflowne, and I want to. Or I might watch Star Driver. I started trying to watch through Star Driver again because I want to finish that, because it seems like a really interesting anime. And so that's really cool. So those might be two anime that I try to binge or whatever. But I tend to not binge anime. I tend to watch anime like a few episodes at a time. I just need time to ingest and process anime. I'm watching through Witch from Mercury with my partner. Last time we tried to watch it, I was having connection issues with Crunchyroll, and like the episode kept buffering, so we couldn't finish an episode. We haven't had time to go back and watch more, and it's really frustrating because like I want to finish that with my partner. We're watching the dub, and the dub seems really cool. I definitely want to start spending more, like, if you want to talk about things that I want to do more of in the new year, I want to spend more time with my partner, because I realized that like well, I've seen Witch from Mercury. I watched Witch from Mercury with Silva. Like, I watched it when it came out, but I watched the sub when it came out. Now I'm watching through the dub with my partner. But yeah, Silva and I watched it. It was really funny. So like, that's another thing to talk about from this past year. I watched a lot of anime. Starting to do regular anime nights was a thing I got really into this year that like was really good for my mental health. Yes, the great space Tanuki. And like, Witch from Mercury was one of those animes that was really amazing to watch as it unfolded. And I think one of the great things about Witch from Mercury and watching it as it unfolded was that it was released one episode at a time, just like how I used to watch anime or shows when I was a kid, you know? And except now I'm hooked into this social media and this community where like I can see these memes, fan theories, and just experience the rush of it as it airs, right? One episode at a time. And I think one of the greatest things about Witch from Mercury is also seeing what it inspired. There's this author, this trans femme author who does who does a lot of really great stuff, but she said like she was kind of inspired by Witch from Mercury to make her own story with giant robots and lesbians, but hers is like more of an adult story. And as she puts it, the lesbians do more than kiss in her story. I started reading her story, and it's really good. It's like, it's definitely not for like general audiences, but it's really good. And I've been trying to like tell people about her work, Sundered Moon, which is a really great work. She has the beta up on Scribble Hub, and she's has pre-orders, I think, for the full book on itch.io. If I haven't told you about it, Silva, I didn't. Oh my gosh, I failed if I haven't told you about it. But yeah, I was sharing it. I made sure to share it in a lot of LGBT spaces that I have access to. I was like, hey, this is a trans author that I think whose work needs more attention. But so like when reading that after having watched Witch from Mercury, I can see where they took a lot of the themes and ideas from Witch from Mercury, made them their own, and made this unique and original and very powerful piece out of it. And I think that's interesting. But like, yeah, Witch from Mercury started all this discourse. But it so that was cool watching that, watching a bunch of other anime. And yeah, we watched through most of the Macross series this year. I think this year we finished, I don't know if it was this year or last year that we finished Symphogear. And that was an interesting anime. I almost didn't finish Symphogear. I was like, there are some parts in Symphogear where I was just like, don't know about that. Don't know about that. Don't really know about that. But I'm glad I finished it. It was definitely interesting. And I've interacted with other people who have a lot. It's funny, I interact with a community of people on the Hero Girls Discord server that all have like a much more like intense attachment and strong positive opinion for Symphogear than I did. I enjoyed the music. There were some of the things, especially towards the end, that bugged me. Like some of the transformation sequences, I was like, that's a kid. That is a kid that should not be getting framed should not be getting pictured or framed or any of that way. What are you doing, Symphogear? And so that was a thing. But it was fun music. And Symphogear, actually, I don't know if I've said this on here, but apparently Symphogear is getting a movie. There's a movie and some other project which is this is all coming on the cusp of the Symphogear. I think it was a mobile game that Symphogear had that got shut down, that had an end of service. I don't know if it was like a visual novel or what kind of stuff it was, but I know it was a Symphogear thing that got end of serviced. And some people are speculating if the Symphogear movie that's coming out, it had a gacha style game. Okay. Yeah, I heard it had a decent story and some good music and some good like animation for some of the story scenes. I don't know. Symphogear ended with a massive cliffhanger like where they resolved everything except for like they took down one of the primordials or whatever, one of the old gods, and it was like you've saved the day from this one big bad, but the rest of them are coming, and then we just never got more episodes. Like, I'm like, it says the more are coming, but then they never got here. And I don't know if they dealt with that in the Symphogear game. Did you from what you said, I take it you played the game, Nabiru? It's funny. Did the game try to answer that, Nabiru, did the game try to answer that cliffhanger about what happened with the other primordials? It looked like it was some kind of like alternate reality story with like 2 Hibikis or something. Okay. You know what? I'm not going to say that. I saw a tweet that I wanted to respond to and say something snarky, but like I was like, you know what? Do I really want that to be something that people hear? Like, that's an intrusive thought, and I was like, do I really need to let it out? Ugh. I have had sorry, I just suddenly my nose got really stopped up real suddenly. Ugh. That was really weird. That was really bizarre. Anyway, so I watched a lot of anime. That was a big part of this year. Also, I played a lot of tabletop role-playing games. Ran Lancer, played D&D, played Lancer. I worked on developing 2 TTRPGs. One I actually semi-published, which was Secret Magical Heroes. Nobody really played it or did anything with it. I never play tested it, but I did put it up on itch. The other one, Metal, what was it? Links of Iron. I got pretty much worked out, but the thing was I kept dealing with feature creep and I kept adding in so many things that it very much stopped being a rules light thing. I kept planning because I really liked the mechanics and the ideas of Links of Iron, and I kept saying I was going to start turning Saturdays like getting up early, and then on midday Saturdays turning that into playtest time to get together a group of people that would meet at least 1 or 2 Saturdays a month. I was hoping for every Saturday, and just like work our way through a campaign, playtesting, nailing down things, and trying to nail down stuff so that way I could actually release a finished and functional playtested TTRPG and Links of Iron. But never happened. Didn't do it. couldn't get the motivation. Stuff like just life, you know. So that was one thing. But I learned a lot of TTRPGs this year. I think it was this year. Let me check. Hold on. Like I did, let me see. Right. Iris isn't here. It's funny, like Iris didn't didn't want to join, message me. It was like, I don't want to join the Discord because I'm in so many other Discords. I'm like, that's completely valid. That is absolutely valid. But then like there's part of me that wants to be like, do I direct message them whenever I go live? But like they're gonna she's gonna see the going live notification on YouTube, and if she doesn't show up, then like I can't make someone show up. And that's one of the important things about streaming, is that you can't make people show up. Like you can do what you want, and people are gonna show up if they have the time and if they have the energy. You have to be appreciative of the people that do show up. But you can't, like, if you're not paying people to show up, like if you're not paying your mods to show up, you can't like expect people to just show up. And that's one of the other things I've learned that I kind of like, I take it for granted was not take it for granted, but like that I needed to make sure I was more appreciative of was my regulars and my community that I've been building. Earlier this week, I started watching Umi Kyoku, who is a streamer, a VTuber, a whale shark VTuber, and she was talking about some of her past experiences. And like, she talked about her past life where she was like, before she was Umi, and she was making content. And where she started. And like, and it was really funny that I saw this on the same day that like someone had made a post about like, it's okay to start with a PNG. It's okay to start on the bottom of the barrel. And like one of my friends was like, yeah, I started with just doing it on my console until I eventually got a computer that I could use and yada, yada. Right. And I'd comment like, listen, I started streaming on my friend's Xbox One. And then I moved to a laptop whenever I saved up and got a laptop from a pawn shop. And I used that laptop for years of making content. I used that laptop plus Windows Movie Maker for years of making content. Some of my most popular videos I made on that laptop with Windows Movie Maker, with a janky version of Windows Movie Maker, and then I was in Umi's stream and she was talking about where she started, right? She started with just a cell phone, not even a computer. She would record herself. I don't know if she had a tablet or if she had two phones or how she did it, but she would record herself playing mobile games on her phone. And then she would edit the footage with an app, video editor. So she would edit it on her phone, and she used Canva through the mobile site on her phone to make her thumbnails. And then posted videos like that. Posted videos like that all done on mobile because she didn't have a computer, right? And like that just blew me away, right? Because like having a computer is a thing that I have always had for years, ever since like I'd say ever since I actually like moved up here to where I live now. And even before that, I've always had a computer of some kind. There's been select parts of my life where I didn't have a computer, but those were definitely the exceptions and not the norms. And I don't want it. I didn't want it to become a thing where like I was comparing myself to her, and like trying to like say, well, I should be better because I had an easier start or whatever. But I wanted it to be a thing where I was appreciating the things that I have and being very, very appreciative of the resources that I have and the privileges and opportunities that I've had. I started doing like Warframe streams on my friend's Xbox. I think I also did I did League of Legends streams on my old laptop because my laptop was so janky I could barely stream League of Legends on the minimum settings. And that's where I started because I realized that like I wasn't getting any younger, and if I kept waiting for the ideal situation, I was going to be waiting forever and I was never going to start. And like that was the thing, like, but then like I was watching her stream today, right? And she talked about like losing a community, right? How like she's always in fear of taking breaks, that she's gonna lose her community. And I commiserate with that because I'm like, you know what? When I took my hiatus, before I took my hiatus, when I was streaming on a regular basis, I had Blue, I had Falafel, I had a bunch of people who were like coming in regularly and watching the streams and stuff when I was doing League content. And then I changed from League content, and some of them stayed, most of them didn't and wandered off to go do their own stuff. And also, it wasn't just that; it was also a lot of my viewers were like teenagers in like high school that were watching in their spare time, and then they graduated, summer ended, they got busy with life. Growing up happens, and like, you know, overnight a chunk of my community just like moved on. But I kind of like that was just something that like I accepted. Like I went from like streaming to like 5 to 10 people to like streaming to like 1 to 2. And that was just part of the experience. And then she talked about her experience with like, I didn't share that in her chat. Like I didn't advertise myself in her chat or anything. I just said something like, yeah, losing a community sucks. And she talked about how like she did nothing different. She just was doing her normal stuff. And she all of a sudden went from streaming to like 40 to 50 people down to streaming to 10 to 14 people. And I'm like, holy cow, if that was my living, if that's what I was doing for a living, and all of a sudden the job just suddenly dried up for no major reason, it would have like horrified me. And Umi talked about how like around that time also all of her mods, her whole mod team all decided to be like, yeah, we're leaving, but they talked amongst themselves and thought it would be easier if instead of telling her that they wanted to leave, if they all waited to tell her all at once. So that way it would all happen at the same time. And I'm like, yo, I didn't even really have a mod team. And Like, there's some things you just realize you didn't have in order to lose in the first place, right? And that was just one of the things that like really set with me when I was watching Umi stream. But yeah, sorry, I've been talking about Umi for a while. So watching anime. Watched a lot of anime, played a lot of TTRPGs, learned a lot of TTRPGs. Let's see. This year I learned. I was gonna look up all the different ones. Can I look up my playlists? There we go, playlists. Where are they? Would it be under the free talk playlist, or would it be under? I think it would be under the free talk playlist. Let's see, working on my TTRPG. What in the world? Why is this on this playlist? Hold on. Hold on. Why was that on my... There was a random Yellow Brick Cinema thing on my playlist. I listen to Yellow Brick Cinema things in order to sleep, so I don't know how one ended up on a playlist. Let's see. Yeah, some game development, Minecraft. Why is that on there? Hold on. Hold on. Why was that on there? I gotta go back through and clean up my playlists. I gotta go back and clean up my playlists. Holy cow. Okay. Chatting my D&D. I did a few, I see a lot of my stuff was working on my TTRPG development. Okay. Where was it in the OC creation? Yes. Okay. So I learned masks this year. I learned Worlds in Peril. I got really deep into Lancer, but I'd been running Lancer for before this year. I started learning Perfect Draw, and then there was Prowlers and Paragons was another one I learned. Prowlers and Paragons Ultimate Edition was another one I learned. All right. Okay. So that was another thing I learned this year. Let me make sure that I don't have... Now I'm getting paranoid about like having random stuff. Okay. Okay, reconnection successful. Sorry about that. Internet went poopy. Didn't realize I was struggling there. I went to open something and it was like, what in the world? You thought? Yep. Good thing I checked. There is. There was.
Wow.
Don't mind that. Wanted to put something on watch later. One feature I hate is that when you go to save something, it saves it to the last playlist that you just put something on. So you end up like when I just want to save something to watch later, it saves it to like a random playlist. So now I have random content on some of my playlists of just like, that's not supposed to be there. I should probably not be doing this while I'm on stream. I was hoping to look back on my past streams. I played Front Mission. That was fun. I need to go back. I want to go back and finish that. I just wasn't super drawn into it because like of just how slow it was. Also, there was Final Fantasy X. Was that this year? Let me take a look at that. No, that was last year. That was last year was Final Fantasy X. Okay. Looking at all the stuff from this year. Oh, wow. Did I... I did RPG Maker. That was another thing I did. That was another thing I did this year. Okay. That got a decent amount of views. That's funny. Anyway, let's look at my analytics. Over the course of the last 365 days, I have gained I am up 14 subscribers, which is really funny because I am up 14 subscribers in the last 365 days, and I'm going into the new year with the goal of jumping 50 subscribers. I lost a subscriber, so I went from 251 back down to 250. So now I'm back to going having to jump 50 instead of 49. Lost that leg up. And when I look at my year in review, right, like my number of views for the year is like 26% lower than 2022. My increase in subscribers is smaller than 2022, but like 2022 is where I really got into the VTubing stuff, and I saw a lot of growth there. But like this year has been kind of a feeling out my position as I've been dealing with some IRL stuff, and that's okay. It's been an investment. It's been a learning stuff, and I learned a lot this year. I want to take all the things I've learned this year and start applying them moving into next year. My watch time for the last 365 days was 747 hours. If I want to get monetization, my watch time needs to hit I think it's like a 2,000 hours. And that's just to unlock super chats. That's not even unlocking AdSense. If I want to unlock AdSense, it has to hit 4,000. So like I have a ways to go before, I think it's like 2,000 or 3,000 watch hours, but it's a lot more than what I've got. Yeah. I need more people. My last few streams, yeah, YouTube algorithm. I'm not trying to say this to be like, no, you know what? That is a perfectly valid way to spell it, because the algorithm is so silly that like spelling it with a Y, or spelling what, it has a Y, but like spelling it like that is just funny. I'd say that's a meme. But like, I'm not saying this to be like, oh, I'm so rough, things are so rough, because like, if one thing I've learned from watching Umi this past week is that like people have it worse than me. People are in worse situations than me. And who did I get a random? Oh. I got a random message from someone. I was looking to see if I got a message from Fillion. I don't know when Fillion's gonna message people if she wants to have her show prepped for Monday. That's gonna be spicy. That's gonna be real spicy. I don't know how many people she's planning to have for that. But I'm saying that to just look at my year, right? I've learned a lot. And it's been an interesting year. I've made a lot of different types of content this year. Yeah, I thought when I first read it, Silva, I thought it was going to be like a regular show that she was going to do on like a regular basis, to be like, oh, we're doing this, like, you know, weekly show or whatever to show off new people. But no, it looks like she's just doing January 1st. Maybe if it does well, she'll do other things, but like, she's considering she's just posting that like today, in order to have that ready for Monday, like that's gonna be spicy. That's gonna be, because Monday's January 1st, right? Yeah, because tonight's the 20th, 30th, 31st. Yeah. That's gonna be real spicy. Yeah, that is Fillion, a big bundle of energy. Yeah, my OC creation playlist. That's another one. Yeah, that was a June. Yeah. I'll talk more about my plans for the year a little bit on Monday if I'm not in the Fillion thing. I'll talk about that more in there. I wanted today to be a day where I talk about the past year. I talk about the past year, and then I do a little bit of looking forward. I wanted to talk a little bit about the custom card creation and some of the stuff involved with Perfect Draw. Looking at the custom card creation rules that they give you in the demo kit. I was told not to do stuff from the playtest until January. So I'm not gonna do stuff from the playtest till January. It's funny, ever since Iris started coming to my streams, my last few streams have been like huge in like numbers of viewers or like watch hours at the end. It was just like this climbing thing, and it was really interesting to see, to start breaking records. Like I think last stream, I think I had like 14 watch hours at the end of the stream for a 3-hour stream, which is huge for me. So, oh no, I dropped the lid of my bottle. 1 second. But yeah, so that's gonna be a thing. I definitely want to do stuff with Perfect Draw in the new year. I want to invest heavily because since it's a new and upcoming game system, I want to like be helping out with content from like the ground floor on it. And so yeah, that's gonna be a thing. So originally, before I decided to do a free chat tonight, I was gonna do like a challenge to be like, let's see what it takes to write a story, to write like a card game. I was gonna do a writing challenge for myself to write a card game battle. But I was like, I'll just get lost in the I like thinking back on it, I think that's a bad idea because I'm just gonna get lost in writing the rules. Because you want to declare the rules and have the rules clearly stated at the start of a battle, in order for the reader to understand what the limitations are, what the stakes are, what the setting is. So that way you don't have to explain everything as it's happening. If you one thing I saw about writing action scenes was in the introductory parts of the fight, describe how a weapon moves with extreme detail and very visceral descriptions to make sure that like the reader has an understanding of what that weapon looks like when it does what it does. And then you don't have to, you do it once in the beginning, and then as that weapon gets used further on throughout the fight, you don't have to describe it as much. You just say it swung, it hit, it attacked, it clashed. And because you've defined it so viscerally for the reader in the beginning of the fight, the reader is going to have that reaction and get that mental image every time the strike lands, which I think is really cool. All right, what is this private video? Oh, I don't have to go to the thing to remove from playlist. There's a button to remove things from playlist. Oh my gosh. That's so funny. That's so funny. I can just remove things from playlists. Oh. That would have been a lot simpler. That's funny. But yeah, it's been an adventure. This year has been an adventure of content and experiences. It's funny, I'm looking at, yeah, and it's been great having you all along with me on this ride. I've shared a lot of really great times with all of you. I just went to look at like my Legend of Dragoon playlist, and it's really funny because like I have 2 videos from like 2018, and then the rest of them are streams that picked up from 2021. But then I dropped that for a little while, and it's just been like I've dropped it for like a year multiple times, which is funny, but I've still come back to the same playthrough. One day I will finish Legend of Dragoon. One day I will finish it. Yeah, it definitely is fun, Naberu. Let's talk about did they give in here? Try to see if they gave in the demo kit the rules for making cards. Because I don't want to go over the rules for making cards. Okay. They did not go over a lot of the rules for making cards. So I will be very brief in what I talk about. I'll show you some of the custom cards I've worked on. You'll never tell anyone what it does. Okay, Silva. Just never tell anyone what it does. Never tell anyone what it does. So, I could have swore, did they take it out of the player kit? Up to your 5th or 6th custom deck. One of the interesting things about Perfect Draw is that they have these rules for making cards, and in order to make a new character, you just need to make 4 cards and choose 2 staples from the list of staples, and then rename them to fit your archetype, to fit your story. Because every playbook gives you 1 special staple card. Yu-Gi-Oh! Armor cards, just costume items that you can keep switching from when they leave the field. Nice. So, I don't remember that. I don't remember armor cards being a thing. Now you got me curious, Nabiru. That sounds like something I would have seen in Buddy Fight. The duelist literally wore his cards. Okay. Joy got to copy them. Okay. Okay. I'm reading this now. This is interesting. Interesting. I'm reading these armor cards. This is an interesting mechanic. So like he gets the cards, so the cards are treated as being on you, so you can choose who gets attacked, and only one armor monster can attack per turn because there's only one person to attack. Okay. Uh it says it's very similar. The wiki says it's similar to the Mech Lord Emperors, which I never mess with the Mech Lords. The wiki says when he equips it, he looks like he's from the Saint Seiya anime, which I think is funny. Speaking of which, I gotta watch that Knights of the Zodiac movie. Wasn't there was a Saint Seiya live action movie that had Sean Bean in it? Wasn't it? Hold on. Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did star Sheen Bean. I don't know how to pronounce his name. If it's Sean Ben or Sheen Bean. Sean Bean. Let me see if Wiki says how to pronounce it. Sean Bean. Okay. Interesting. Okay. See, here's the thing. I could have swore... Not liking that his name doesn't rhyme. That makes sense. That makes sense. Give me 1 second. Actually, let me... I'll just pull up. Oh, that didn't have... Huh. That's funny. I could have swore that Wow, I guess that was just in the playtest rules. Okay. Let me check my recycle bin. Nope. I'm gonna empty that recycle bin then. Doesn't have the file I was looking for. Okay. I just kept trying to rhyme his name, Sheen Bean or Sean Bean. But it's Sean Bean. Okay. Pronounced two different ways. But yeah, so Avivrus shared or liked my post about going live. That's nice of them. Him. What a nice llama. But yeah, so that puts a damper in it. I was planning to do to show off some of the custom card creation tonight, but I didn't realize that was only in the playtest rules. It's funny. This is what happens when you read the read the playtest rules too soon. So there's some really cool effects that I guess I'll go into a little bit. I won't go into too much detail because I don't want to reveal too much of this stuff. But basically how they build the cards is the different types of cards have a different effect point value that they can have depending on how strong they are. The stronger the card, the lower the effect point value. You choose Pot of Greed? Okay, Silva. The stronger the card, the lower the effect point value because it's harder to destroy. It's harder to destroy strong cards than it is to destroy weak cards. The weaker the card, the stronger the larger the effect point value, and then depending on how Pot of Greed, not even Pot of Greed, Pot of Greed, you save points by not putting the D on there. That's exactly how that works, right? Oh, it got errated. Okay, it errated. You errated it back to Pot of Greed. I got you, Silva. I heard there was... Wait, was there another new ban list? Because I saw the ban list from the other day where, like, a bunch of stuff got hit. I don't keep up with Yu-Gi-Oh! Because, like... I don't. It no longer has as much of a stranglehold on my life. But so the deck I'm working on for the character that I am that I want to play in Nothing you play? Well, of course not, Nabiru. You're always playing the anti-meta, silly, fun stuff. Not saying your decks aren't good. It's just like your decks are like more for fun than like, because the thing with modern Yu-Gi-Oh is that like in order to be considered air quotes strong, your deck has to limit the opponent's ability to play the game. Like, in order to be considered air quotes strong, you have to essentially avoid playing the game. Yep, to annoy friends. Yeah, it's interesting whenever I play my roommate because like I have a Machina deck, and my Machina deck's just about like spamming big monsters and swinging for big numbers, right? Swarming the field with big monsters and doing a bunch of damage. Lesbian maze girls. What's gonna be funny, Naberu, is I can't wait to see what like you or someone who thinks like you does whenever the perfect draw rules get released for like card creation, because you're so creative with the cards you come up with. Also called the IKEA deck because all the furniture. Nice. But basically, all of the card effects are rated by how powerful, consistent, or versatile they are in order to determine their effect point values. And that's used to balance the cards. It avoids power creep. And because of how it's designed, things are always going to be at a roughly the same power level. So whenever you create new cards, you're not so much creating a more powerful card as much as you're creating a card that is more specialized and more optimized for what you're doing, which reminds me a lot of how it works in Lancer, where like in Lancer, you don't necessarily unlock stronger parts or stronger pieces of equipment as much as you gain more options to hyper specialize in order to do what you do better. And I think that's really cool. I won't go into all the specifics. Actually, I'm not sure how much of this I can show. Goodness. But, so with the character that I'm planning to play, yeah. Well, so I thought the rules for card creation were in the demo kit. So I was going to be like, okay, we're going to make cards using the rules from the demo kit and only the effects that are in the demo kit. But then I actually went and reread the demo kit today when I was prepping for stream, and I was like, oh, it doesn't have rules for card creation in the demo kit. It just says use the custom cards that we gave you rules for. Because they give you 4 custom cards for each of the demo character sheets. But so the deck I'm working on for my character that I want to play in somebody's game, I don't know whose game, is a character who is a certain playbook called the Idealist, which one of their moves gives them an alternate identity that can be like a vigilante form, or can be a like a superhero, or it could be like a Yami Yugi form. It's another form that they can go into, and then you make 2 of the cards in your deck able to transform. So when you transform, those cards transform into their new forms. So you essentially, instead of making 4 cards, you make 6. Which is interesting because how the rules are stated and how it's put in the rules, you're supposed to be able to transform mid-battle as long as the only people who can see you are the people who know who you are. But it makes a suggestion for game masters that, like, if someone wants to transform mid-battle and there are people there who don't exactly know who they are, come up with some excuse and give them an excuse to jump off stage, transform off stage, then jump back on stage to continue the battle. And oh my gosh, Silva. So I was working on a character that would be a warrior of justice. I don't know what he's fighting against because I don't know. I think what he's fighting against would very much vary on whatever the villainous archetype is in the world that he's going to be playing in. And his mechanic of his deck is this effect called the Regalia effect that that was given in the example cards that Iris had mentioned before, where you become a warrior. So he becomes he's piloting a giant robot essentially, and he has these items that equip that give effects to his giant warrior. And that's his thing. Is effects that go off that do things when he's transformed into a giant warrior. And one of the cards, right, is really interesting. His ace card when he's in his superhero form is called Undying Justice Mecha Senshi. Because his hero form is Captain Senshi, which is kind of funny because it's just Captain Warrior. And it can be played from the graveyard, but it's a weak card. So the opponent can destroy it, but they're going to have to waste an effect or an attack to destroy it. But then after they do that, next turn, you'll just play it again from the graveyard. As long as it doesn't get shuffled back in. But if it gets shuffled back in, he has a staple that lets him add a card from the deck to the hand. So he should always be transformed into a form when he's in that form. It's not as consistent when he's in his regular form because that turns into a drill robot that he is untargetable with attacks, but it can still be destroyed by card effects. And it was really funny when I learned about this effect to like be untargetable with attacks, the inconspicuous effect, I was like, oh my gosh, this is great, right? Inconspicuous says it can't be targeted unless it's the only target available. So I was like, putting that on a card that turns you into a warrior means it can never be targeted. But then I read the card effect and I read the expanded text rules, and the expanded text rules say if you're the only non-player target. And I'm like, oh, that's poopy, because a lot of times it's just going to be that and that. So I asked in the Discord, I think it was Nora who said that, no, it works like that, where like it essentially, because it makes a warrior that can't be destroyed, because you can't destroy the player. It essentially is untargetable. It's impossible to hit. So the Drillbot is weaker than the Mecha Senshi, but it is untargetable, so it has to be destroyed by card effects. But then I actually read the rules for NPCs, right? And I'm like, NPCs can just, depending on the situation, they can just say that they have an effect to destroy a card on the field. So like, I was just like, oh, they can just pop it. They can just pop it. But I think that could also be an interesting thing, because the cards, if you transform mid-battle, the cards transform. So then the Drillbot would turn into the Mecha Senshi. So it could be interesting would be if he's in a fight, his Drillbot gets destroyed. He's got no way to get out of his graveyard, and he's about to be overwhelmed and defeated. And then he reveals his identity and transforms into a Captain Senshi, and then plays Undying Justice Mecha Senshi from the graveyard in order to get back in the game. I think that could be really interesting. And it leads to some very interesting stuff. I'm trying to work on something that's kind of an impact card, where like it has all these requirements, but it does a bunch of damage. But I gotta get some input on it from the Perfect Draw Discord server. You'll be happy to know that I made a Gurren Lagann reference in the design of the deck. There's one item that says that's called the Giga Drill Break, the drill that pierces the heavens, Giga Drill Break. And it's an item that says, as long as it's on the field, the warrior transformed into can attack directly and engage Sniper 1. Sniper 1 means that when you do direct damage, you do 1 bonus damage. Whatever your sniper value is, that's the bonus damage you do if you hit directly. So it's a drill that can drill past the enemy's defenses, which is kind of funny. And then the other card is Aim for the Top Buster Gun, which is based on the Gunbuster anime. Except it's a weapon. And as long as it's on the field, the warrior transformed into gains Pressure 2 and Piercer 1. Pressure 2 means that you have +2 combat tension, which means any of the rolls you make in combat, you will have a +2 on top of what other tension you might have had, which is really strong. And Piercer 1 means if you win a clash, you do 1 damage. Normally there's no trample, but it's essentially mini trample. And the idea is, since if you clash, you're going to be rolling using your tension to try to beat over the enemy if they're as strong as you are. So that's the idea. Ugh. So, like, the deck has a lot of ways to attack, but the thing is, the deck doesn't have a lot of versatility. It's got a lot of ways to attack, and it's a very offensive deck that's supposed to be pressuring the opponent. But, like, depending on the situation, I'm going to have to use the Perfect Draw ability to generate new cards. Essentially, what I'm going to do is to generate new equip cards, new item cards that give my mech new options in order to deal with whatever the threat is that I'm going to be fighting, which I think is going to be really interesting. I'll probably make some custom cards just to have on hand, just to have ready in case I use that for just so I know what's balanced and what's prepped depending on the situation. Oh my gosh, getting tired. I didn't sleep well last night. Like, it's funny. I slept all day yesterday, right? I slept all day yesterday. And then when I went to bed last night, I had trouble sleeping. I slept for a little bit, then I woke up, and then I was just milling around on the internet all morning. I watched Sir Phobos's TikTok live this morning, where he went into his Zoid's room and was answering questions. I joined like halfway through, but it was still fun. He was answering questions, doing polls, playing music, just generally having fun. But then I was busy all day with doing the COVID booster, the Rona booster. All right. So let's So it says the custom card creation should be in the play kit. That's weird. Hold on. Even on the thing, it says that like there should be custom card creation in the. I could have swore there was custom card creation in the demo kit. Because I remember when I first read it, I was like wanting to do effects. When I first read the rules, I wanted to do some custom card creation. Adding, oh, here it is. It's at the end. That's where it was. Okay. All right. Yes. Yes. All right. We're in business, chat. Chat, we're in business. Okay. In the players in the quick play kit, it does have the rules for card creation. Okay. All right, so I can show this. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. I can show this, chat. Let me put on to a writing stream. Okay. First, let me show you where it is in the thingy. Okay. Custom card creation. So the thing was, I'd stopped looking at the character sheets because I didn't realize there was more after the character sheets. Oh, excuse me. So basically, you have, depending on if it's weak, normal, or strong, that's how many effect points you have. Except invocations, which are essentially spells, all only have 3 effect points. Items have more effect points than warriors because warriors can attack, items cannot. If it's your ace card, it gets +1 effect point available because it's got a little bit more leeway. It's your best card. It's your super card, right? And then you have to figure out whether the effect leans into your deck's gimmick, because if it leans into your deck's gimmick, then the effect will cost 1 less than it actually does. So you can build stronger effects as long as they're leaning into your gimmick. Figure out how powerful, how versatile, and how consistent it is. And then, so yeah, when you go into the effects, does it lean into your gimmick? How powerful, how versatile, how consistent. And you ask it for each effect separately. And it goes into the quick start guide, the quick playlist goes into the rules for the creation of all the different things. Right, and gives suggestions and does a really good explanation for how to determine how powerful an effect is. It also gives really cool stuff, which I don't see in the playtest rules. Maybe I just haven't found it yet. Like it's like make assumptions and then decide how powerful something is in those assumptions. Which I think is really cool. I think that's really sweet. All right. So those are the card effects, and now I can show you the effects that I designed for my cards. These are so okay. The rules that I had that I found in the playtest that I won't go into too much is that the normal regalia effect, where it's an item that turns you into a normal warrior, is powerful 2, consistent 1. So from that, I exposited that making you a powerful warrior would be powerful 3, consistent 1, and making you a weak warrior would be powerful 1, consistent 1. Cool. Awesome. And then at first I was tinkering with having 2 transformations where you had card burn that was just a regular normal warrior, and then ultimate card burn that you could only transform into by discarding a card and sacrificing regular card burn. But then I'm like, you're never going to use it. Like, you're never going to use it, because it's just, and it runs into the problem that ultimate card burn had in buddy fight, which is that the summoning conditions are so great that it just nerfs the deck into the ground. So I'm like, okay, why would I carry over the worst part of ultimate card burn to this game? So what I came up with was just a simple thing of Undying Justice, Oriansenshi. This is the one I'm working on that I'm trying to make into essentially an impact card, where it can either be a nuke, or if your opponent has no warriors or items and you're transformed into a warrior, you deal 4 damage, which 4 damage is the starting HP for a finale battle. So like in most situations that should end the fight. But it has the rule that it can't be cast on the first turn of the game. And it's just trying to balance that out. Trying to balance all of that out is kind of hard. It's still going through the workshops. So Drillbot, originally this is the one he has access to in his civilian form, right? And originally I had it as a powerful item, ace, and then normal warrior with no extra effects. Where it was a powerful item, so it's hard to destroy. But then I was like, if I make it a weak item, it's untargetable. Which I think is kind of cool. And I'm still waffling between that and this. Because being powerful just makes it harder to destroy. But, yeah. And then this is the spell that he has. He only has in civilian form, which is that he can add an item from his graveyard back to his hand. But I gave it powerful 2 and versatile. Versatile because it can grab any item, and powerful 2 because it can grab any size item. Like a lot of times you want to restrict these as grab a weak item, grab a powerful item, grab a normal item. But since this grabs everything, I gave it powerful 2. Then there's the things I told you about before: aim for the top, and Joel that pierces the heavens. The staple he gets from his playbook, I call it super move: Justice Slash, gain 1 life, target opponent loses 1 life, and strengthen 1 warrior. Strengthen means it goes up from normal to strong, from strong to overwork, and from weak to normal, from normal to strong, from strong to strong with overwork. Overwhelm. So that's cool. And his staples he has are Super Robot Hanger that adds stuff from the deck to the hand, and Dual Flaming Blades where a target warrior can attack twice. Which this is really funny. This is a really funny staple because for the superhero mode, if he's a powerful warrior and he deals a direct attack, he's going to do 2 damage. That means if he's ever in a situation where the enemy does not have a warrior on the board, right? He can Mecha Senshi, dual flaming blades, and swing game. Ding ding. Which I thought was kind of funny. But with this setup, you almost want to attack their monsters. Because if you attack their monsters, you can clear their monsters or their items to clear the field for the ultimate justice strike. And ultimate justice strike is an effect you have to be careful of, because one of the things it said in the rules was like it's really easy. It's really easy to make a card that like has a lot of restrictions but does a bunch of damage that just trivializes the game. And I think that like this one is special enough, the fact that he only has access to it in his hero mode, right, is the only reason I'm really justifying it. Is that but yeah, so you can clear their board and then pop them for a bunch of damage. Well, it has a restriction. Like its restriction is the competitor, your target has to have no warriors and no items on the field. And the thing is, whenever you're determining if something's consistent, you should be looking at assuming your opponent has 2 warriors and 1 item, or assuming an opponent has 1 item and 2 warriors on the board at any given time, just because of the way the game flows. So what's funny is the custom card creation is in the demo kit, but the rules for making NPCs are not in the demo kit, so I cannot make NPCs tonight. Would help if I read the entire thing instead of stopping at the character stuff. But yeah, so I think that's a pretty fun one, and it's an invocation. So like, because one other fun thing about this game, right? So there are the different things you can do in your turn: draw a card, play a normal card, play an invocation or a staple, attack. You do not have to do those in any specific order, which is really interesting. You could theoretically attack and then draw your card. You could attack as the first thing you do on your turn, which I think is really interesting, because that creates the opportunity where you can, if you aren't using your 1 card to play per turn on Mecha Senshi to bring it back from the graveyard, you can if you aren't using your attack on that, you can, ow, my shoulder hurts. You can attack and then use the Justice Strike. Which is really interesting. But the other effect of the Justice Strike, if their field isn't clear, you can clear their field. You can completely clear their field of all items and warriors. Which it's versatile. It has a bonus count of versatile because you can choose between 2 effects. So that's a thing. But yeah, once I can't wait. Like, I don't know if you'll get into this, Nabiru, but like I feel like you're the kind of person that if you sunk your teeth into the card creation side of this, you could come up with some really creative stuff. And I think it'll be really interesting. Like, so I mentioned this before, but like as soon as I learned about this game, right, and what it had to offer, I just had a dream of this game being popular with an active fan base, tons of fan-made playbooks, tons of fan-made cards, and all that. So this shows how easy it is to make a character, though. You make, well, this one you're making 6 cards because of the because I chose the move for creating this. I chose the move mask change, which lets him have an alternate identity. But normally you create 4 cards, three regular cards and an ace, and then you choose 2 staples and you rename stuff and you put it together. But for now, let's look at, oh yeah, this is the Regalia effect. You can attack, you clash with enemies that attack as if you are a warrior before you take damage. You only take damage if you lose the clash. So alternatively, I could take away this undying effect and make it a normal, which would be normal item is 3, so it would be 4. I could take the play from the graveyard effect and make it a normal instead of a weak, which is funny. Have it give you like some kind of base powerful effect like pressure 1 or something. That could be a thing. This one, Drillbot, I'm still iffy about if I want to leave it weak and inconspicuous. But let's work on creating some cards. We got like 15 minutes left before we start winding down. So let's work on some custom cards. So I want to make specialty items for specific situations, right? I don't know why I keep wanting to spell invocations with a K. So first one is going to be the one that's going to be most important. Is going to be some kind of spot destruction. So we're looking at Justice Lightning, Invocation, 3 EP. So that is powerful 2 because it can hit anything. Versatile. but leans into gimmick. I think that's fine. I think that's fine to do. A little bit underpowered, but that's okay. It's spot destruction. So if the opponent has a card that has some kind of protection where it can't be targeted, like it has inconspicuous or something, you can just boom, Justice Lightning. That's fine. What are other things that are like current restriction, lose life, restriction, send cards to grave? What are some specialty situations I might end up in? Like just some generic things that happen in card games, because this deals with things that can't be attacked, right? This just deals with pushing things off the board that can't be attacked. What else? I've already got a staple that strengthens something, so I don't want to deal with that. Well, so that deals with spot destruction. You know what? Let's look at the judge kit to look at some of the NPC moves that you will that will be up against. So normally with the NPCs, on their first turn, they'll do something that's called establish a plan to win. So it's going to be one of these two things that they can choose to do to set up their game plan, right? That goes with their gimmick. Then after that, on their turn, they use a power card move. And most power card moves enable them to use simple card moves. And if they don't have any power card moves from there are generic power card moves, and there are generic simple moves that are used. So the enemies, the NPCs, don't actually have a deck that they draw from. You kind of just make the cards as you need them. But you would normally make how this is. If you're making an NPC, you'd make the cards for their power card moves. So let's look at this bad guy. Plan to win. What's his gimmick? Use your opponent's graveyard to your advantage. He can so whenever a card enters the opponent's graveyard, gain 1 life. So then his whole thing is gaining life. Or this one. Ooh, this one looks cool. Ancient history dragon, a mecha dragon. This warrior cannot die due to the effects of any cards with the card types matching those types in the opponent's graveyard. Ooh, okay. One thing that they can do is, depending on the... So, you always establish a plan to win on the first turn, right? But, depending on... on the threat level of the game, they may have... So the response moves are their ability to counter and essentially counter spells. Lashing out are things they can do in response to their life points hitting 0 that they can do in order to extend their life. And backup plan means that If the player nullifies or gets past their plan to win, they can establish a plan to win a second time and choose the other option. So that's one of the things that makes the higher end battles more intense, is that like in the finale level battles, you're starting at 4 life, you're starting with 3 cards in hand. Your opponent has 3 counter spells they can use. They can save themselves from dying twice. And if you get past their master plan, they can go with a backup plan. So, like, the final battles are going to be intense. So in this one, what's this one? Archaeology. Archaeology automaton. Oh, this is like mechs. Warrior normal. This card has the same strength and effect as a warrior or item in your opponent's graveyard. Ooh. So this thing can copy anything from the opponent's graveyard. This opponent discards target opponent discards a card, so it adds it to the graveyard, which would just, if you start with the excavation zone, you're gaining a bunch of life. Or Dot'll use 4 simple card moves. Which, that's just funny. So that one is about making your opponent add stuff to the graveyard and then punishing them for adding stuff to the graveyard. Like, you could theoretically, while running this NPC, start with this, and build up a bunch of life. Then, once the opponent finally destroys this, in order to stop your life gain, you summon this. But here's the thing that makes this not OP. The reason why this card is, well, it's not, it's balanced for an NPC. I don't think I would give this kind, I don't think this kind of card would be given to a player. But because of how graveyards recycle, this is not a completely, like, it doesn't completely shut down an opponent's deck. If you go to draw a card and you have no cards in your deck, you shuffle your graveyard back into your deck and you lose 1 life. So eventually their graveyard's going to get emptied. So let's take a look at some of the simple card moves real quick. Create a weak warrior with blocker. Strengthen a warrior you control until end of turn. Create a normal warrior. Sacrifice a warrior control. Destroy a warrior your opponent controls with less than or equal to strength. Target warrior your opponent controls loses all text until the start of your next turn. Give a warrior or item your opponent controls underwhelm. Gain 1 life. Play an invocation that produces a minor benefit based on your gimmick or plan to win. Okay, so these are not, and also you can, there are 8 of them, so you could roll a d8 to determine what you do. Then these are the generic power card moves. Dot'll is funny because he can let you summon a bunch of monsters in 1 turn. Yeah. Sorry, I had a booger come up my nose. Oof. Come here. All right. Cool. Are we still running? Okay, cool. We're still running. All right. Remove. Protect your game plan. Play a normal warrior, normal item, or invocation that protects the next game plan, such as making it harder to remove a key game piece or harder for the player to perform a disruptive action. So, like something that gives a warrior you control inconspicuous or blocker, creating a small number of weak warriors to sit in the way, or anything else to protect against the player's ability to win the game, and then you use a simple card move. Create a new threat. Play a normal warrior with 1 or 2 features that make it a threat to the player, such as it's actually strong warrior, it can attack directly, it has some amount of piercer or sniper, or anything else to make it an immediate threat. And then depending on the number of features you chose for the card you generate, you do a number of simple moves. Create an advantage. Play a normal warrior or strong item with some form of protection that creates an advantage for you in some minor but useful ways, such as giving a warrior you control a useful keyword once per turn, creating a weak warrior once per turn, or something else that may become difficult to deal with over time. Yeah, so make it something like a barracks or whatever that generates a new warrior every turn, so that way the player is gonna have to deal with tons of warriors soon. Yeah, that totally makes sense. And that's the other thing. My character that I made, because his item is weak, he loses out hard to any swarm deck. Because any swarm deck is just going to, like, first attack, do that, second attack, attack directly, third attack, attack directly. Like, it's just gonna be brutal. So I'm gonna have to use, like, counter an opponent's move, which is a move you can use in order to, like, try to essentially counterspell someone. But yeah, remove an invocation, play an invocation, remove immediate problems. Play an invocation that deals with 1 or more problems the player has created, removing those warriors, items, effects from the battlefield or immediate gameplay. Then use two simple card moves. If the player still has a significant threat, use 1 if the player does not have a significant threat, but still has some amount of resources. Otherwise, use no simple card moves. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I'm debating. See, looking at this stuff has me debating, like, going back to the drawing board with my character instead of having the ace card be able to be played from the graveyard, just making it easier to protect, like making it powerful or something. But we'll see. Gotta do some test plays. Disrupt the player's plan. Play a normal warrior or normal item that disrupts the player's plans and gives them a disadvantage of some kind. Giving a warrior underwhelm, such as giving a warrior underwhelm each turn. Weakening player's main game plan or anything else that makes the player's life somewhat more difficult, then use a simple card move. Yeah. So looking at this stuff, what the NPCs are going to be able to do is they're going to be able to generate ways to nullify my my advantage, to destroy. They're probably going to generate ways like remove an immediate problem, instantly, like pop, play an invocation that instantly pops my monster, so that way my regalia, so that way they can attack directly and just run me over and win the game. It's like they can just do that. They can do that and then play a normal warrior and swing for 1 damage, which, depending on the threat level of the game, can be quite brutal. The first one is about gaining life, so probably... All right, what's the next one? Next one is gimmick. Equip Atlas with items to make him even stronger. This one's really powerful with strong, with overwhelm. Warriors clash with this, lose overwhelm. Okay. Oh, so it always wins. That's brutal. Atlas always wins clashes. That's brutal. Probably want some kind of a thing to like nullify opponent's cards. Yeah, probably want something like that. Maybe like an eraser? Yeah, let's do an eraser. I'm looking at that. How would I word that? How would I word that? Trying to think of how to word that. Probably. I think I'll just keep it simple. All right, good night, Silva. It was great having you. I hope you had a good time. I will see you all. I will see you next year, Silva. I think that you're amazing. Actually, I'll see you tomorrow because we'll watch anime together tomorrow. I think it's powerful too, consistent, versatile. It's consistent because it always works and you're always going to be transformed into a warrior. It's versatile because it can affect anything. All right. So I got the Mighty Eraser, Justice Lightning. I want to make one more. Um, Super Robot Support Squad. Summon 4 weak warriors with blocker. I don't know if that number might have to get tweaked. Let me see something real quick. How many? Because you can, oh yeah, so invocation, you can create 4 weak warriors with teamwork. That leans into the gimmick. So that's why that one's stronger. Okay. That number needs to be tweaked. Actually, create 1 weak warrior with blocker every turn. It's not going to be able to attack with it, but it's just going to be blocking. That one's fun. That one I might actually put in the deck. Hold up. Hold up. That one's actually good. Because that solves one of the greatest weaknesses of the deck, which is that you can get blown up real fast. Can I do one more? Can I do one more? Okay, item. Powerful. 1 EP. You're transformed into a weak warrior. Now, why would you want to be a weak warrior? That means that, no, I wouldn't want to be a weak warrior. I'd want to be a normal warrior. Because weak would just stop. Weak warrior stops weak warriors with snipe from doing a bunch of damage to you. It means you clash with it stops snipe from being a thing. You can't get sniped anymore. just being a warrior. So it stops, just being in a weak warrior stops you from getting sniped, and you can use the justice slash to strengthen yourself from weak to normal. So it's not terrible, because if it was normal, you could go normal to powerful, which is not what I want. But yeah, and this is a powerful thing, so it's going to be hard to destroy. So it's the backup robo. That's not bad. Might use that for a create card effect. This is fun. I could do an entire stream of making cards. I was asked not to do stuff with the playtest rules till January. So at some point in January I could do some fun tutorials and stuff. Is it really 11:12 already? Wow. Super energy. Invocation. What do I want here? So I got draw one card, which is powerful and consistent. Probably just say 2 cards. Draw 2 cards. So if you open super energy, so if you have super energy, you can draw through stuff in order to get the pieces you need to combo. Okay. I like the Super Robot Support Factory. It deals with one of the biggest weaknesses of the team. And I'm still gonna create just be able to having a Hyper Robo Defense Squad to just instantly get 4 of them will allow me to do a bunch. I like Hyper Robo Defense Squad. I'll probably go back and retool these later. These are just feel out things. I'm thinking I want him to like, because hold on, there was counter the play of that card. That's what I'm looking for. But there was also, if I look at the moves, counter your opponent's play. Your opponent uses a game action or activates card effect, spend 1 advantage. Okay, so I'll say you can sacrifice it in order to counter your opponent's play instantly. We'll be able to... That's really powerful. So that's definitely powerful too. Versatile and consistent. Cool. I like counterpunch. That's actually really good. Being able to instantly counter their move. You still have to roll for it, but it's a sacrifice this card. So you have to play it and then so you have to play it beforehand. I'll go back through and retool most of these, but these are just some ideas I had for custom cards that I might create. The Hyper Robo Defense Squad is one that I can definitely see myself creating at some point. And one of the things is, in Perfect Draw, your deck should be between 4 to 8 cards. It starts at 4 cards. It's not counting staples. It starts at 4 cards. And normally, over the course of play, it will go up to 8 cards. Once you get past 8 cards, since there's no duplicate cards, it can be hard to start seeing the cards that you need. And I think that's going to take some testing. But yeah, let's start winding down for the night. These are some of the cards I created. Okay. All right, we had a fun stream tonight. We talked about life. We talked about my week. We talked about the year. We went over some of the stuff that I've accomplished for this year. We talked about stuff, and I went over some card creation stuff for Perfect Draw, made a bunch of cards, showed you how to make cards. Maybe I'll, I don't know if I want to make that into a little short video, just the part where I was making the cards. So in the playtest rules, they have a bunch of example cards that are pre-statted out, and some of those effects that I chose are going to be similar to those effects. So after I get off stream, I'm probably going to pull up the playtest rules and look at those example cards and alter the pricing and some of the limitations of those cards just to fine-tune them. What we did tonight was mostly like the volatile card creation, which is going to be where you create an effect that seems kind of balanced. You use it in the moment, but as soon as the fight's over, it comes out of your deck and you use the regular custom card creation rules when you have a chance to recreate it in a balanced fashion. So I'd say most of what we did tonight was volatile card creation. So I called it custom card creation, but like I tried to stick through some stuff, but it was a lot of stuff just to see what fit. And some of them I could see being really good cards. Like that one that just lets you pop an opponent's card if you're transformed. That's cool. Might need more of a limitation, like your warrior you're transformed into can't attack this turn. But we'll see. Yeah, it was an interesting year, Nabiru. This has been an interesting year. Take a look at something, make sure that I don't have. Okay. Oh my gosh, I have so many playlists because I keep making playlists for things to make it easier for people to find stuff. Because I do so many streams. I stream so many games. Anyway, it's been fun. I was hoping Iris would be here to talk about some of the card creation stuff. But I guess she was busy. It is literally New Year's weekend. So we'll see. Actually, let me see if I got a. Yep, I'll have a good year. I hope you have a good year too, Nabiru. You never know. Maybe one of these days I'll be able to get you playing Perfect Draw with us. With your crazy card creation ideas. I'm sure you'll be able to come up with something really crazy. I know I've said that like 4 times. But I can't wait to see what other people come up with. Because like me, I've got giant robot brain rot. I will admit that. I have giant robot brain rot. But I'm sure some other creative people that aren't as like restricted mentally as I am will make some really creative and unique and powerful and really special card effects. Alrighty. I was just looking to see if there's anything cool to talk about on Twitter. No message from Filian. It's probably with it's knowing Filian, how chaotic Filian can be. It's probably going to be a thing where like Sunday night get a message like, hey, you want to do the thing? Anyway. All right, let's do the wind down. We'll do the wind down a few minutes early because I don't see anything cool to talk about. Aw. I just saw a post where someone was talking about like how this lady was talking about how her husband noticed that no one was eating the oranges and she told him that since she has eczema on her hands, peeling them hurts the little cuts on her hands, which is why she avoids them. And so after that, he started peeling the oranges, putting them in little Ziploc baggies in the fridge for her. So that way she would have oranges to eat without having to peel them. And I'm like, that's cute. All right. Oh my gosh, seeing people complain about the Yu-Gi-Oh community is always funny. Okay. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Oh, this is funny. Someone posted a thing that said, "Merry Christmas, everyone. Endless Waltz is a Christmas movie with mech." Now I want to watch Endless Waltz. Oh my gosh. Okay, one thing. So I don't know where I heard it, but I was listening to English dubs, English covers of the songs from Gundam Wing and Endless Waltz because I was just in a mood, right? And one of them, I don't know which one. I cannot find which one. I cannot find where. But it had this line in it. And I don't know if the line was in the song or if it was in a comment I read on the song or if it was in the description of the song. I can't find it. But it completely blew my mind because it was a line from the Endless Waltz movie that completely explains the plot and the ideas expressed in the Endless Waltz movie in an elegant and amazing way, where it said, "The endless waltz of time of war, peace, and revolution, the three steps that repeat throughout eternity." And I'm like, that's Gundam. War, peace, and revolution. That was just so profound for me when I saw that. And like, apparently that's a line from the movie Endless Waltz that I missed because I haven't watched the movie in forever. Maybe I'll watch Gundam Wing. You know what, Nabaru? Maybe I'll watch Gundam Wing. Maybe that'll be my binge anime. Watch some Gundam Wing, then some Endless Waltz. Yeah. It's a classic. Absolutely fun. Anyway, let's wind down for the night. To everyone watching, for those of you who don't know, I like to say positive affirmations about my viewers. To Nabaru, to Silva, to anyone who watched the stream and didn't say anything in the chat, to anyone who watches this VOD afterwards, I want to say that I love all of you, and I believe in each and every one of you. Thank you for coming to the stream. Thank you for being a member of this community. Thank you for giving me your time, your energy, and your attention. I believe that each one of you is a truly special, unique, one-of-a-kind person with the potential to make the world a better place by living in it in your own special way. I thank you all for being here, and I think that you all are precious treasures of human beings, and I'm grateful to live in a world with you all in it every single day. Always remember the Star Hunter motto: shoot for the stars, have wonderful adventures, live your dreams, and always stop to enjoy the memes. One thing I do ask is that you like the stream. It helps the algorithm of pushing it out. It lets me know what people are interested in. And I'm going to try to be paying attention more to that as we move forward into the new year. If you have any friends, neighbors, aunts, uncles, nephews, sisters, brothers, or arch nemesis, rivals, bitter rivals, any of that you think might enjoy my content, feel free to show them my content or invite them to the next stream. Next stream is going to be Monday, 8:30 p.m. EST. Unless I get picked for that Fillion thing, then I don't know what's going to happen. Right now, I was planning to do a stream of creating cards for Perfect Draw, but then I did that tonight, and I don't know if I want to do that again. I'm gonna try to talk to the people who make Perfect Draw over the weekend to find out what I can and can't cover. I might go over some character creation stuff or some NPC creation. Excuse me. So I might go over some NPC creation and work on some villains if I can get permission for that. But one way or the other, there will be some kind of a stream on Monday. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for being amazing. If you want to keep up with what I'm doing on YouTube, you can subscribe and ding the notification bell to let you know whenever I go live or when I release any new content. And if you want to keep up with what I'm doing outside of YouTube, you can follow me on Twitter or X or join my Discord. Links to both of those are in the description down below. I want to say that donations are not expected. I do this primarily as a hobby right now. I may move into trying to do it more intentionally in the new year. We'll see what happens. All depends on what happens with my disability case, but that's a whole nother story. I never want anyone to feel like they have to donate to be a member of this community or they have to pay to be welcome here. You all are welcome, and I treasure each and every one of you. With that said, I value and appreciate everyone who has donated in the past and who will donate in the future to help make things possible in my life that would not be otherwise possible. There are links down in the description below where you can donate if you ever feel motivated to do so and are in a safe financial position where you can. I've recently set up monthly subscription tiers on Ko-fi. I think I have a $1 and a $5. They don't give you anything at this point. It's just like if you want to subscribe to support me, then you can do that through that. If you want to do regular support, if people want to do that, that's an option. But with that, I just want you to know that I treasure all of you. Have yourselves a good night, and I will see all of you on Monday. Hopefully.